So Megan, this is obviously a very big night for the UFC. Just tell us how much you enjoy being at this and kind of celebrating the sport and the great moments that we have.
Yeah, I think it's so important because I think our sport is so much about looking forward, and we have events almost every week, so we don't give a lot of time to really dwell on these great moments, and I think that's what tonight is about. I mean, Daniel Cormier, look at his career, from Strikeforce alternate to double champion to this incredible broadcaster, did we ever really take a step back to think about all of that? Probably not as much as we should have. The same thing with Khabib. So I think that's what's so special about tonight is we get to pause and really think about the people who helped make the sport what it is today, and their efforts aren't unnoticed.
And I'll allow you to cheat on this question, but who's one fighter you think needs to be in the Hall of Fame who's not in yet?
Okay, so here's my thing. I pitched this to Sean Shelby, but I believe there should be an all WEC year. I think that there have been so many pioneers from that specific organization. Obviously, I believe Joseph Benavidez should be in there as he helped create and keep a division alive. But I do think that the WEC, you have names like Cowboy Cerrone, you have the Diaz brothers, Carlos Condit. There are so many people that came from that organization, and it gave life to these smaller weight classes, especially in North America, where they maybe weren't given a home that often. And I think if we could have an all WC year, maybe an all Strikeforce year, that's my pitch. So fingers crossed.
Obviously, the Hall of Fame is just a piece of the puzzle of International Fight Week.
Yes.
It's going to be capped off on Saturday with just a stacked UFC 276 card. You'll obviously be a part of that.
Yes.
Just being part of the broadcast, seeing a card that is stacked from start to finish like that. What is that like for you? How exciting is that?
I mean, every card, genuinely, and I know it sounds like cliche to say, I love every card, and we get excited as soon as we know, okay, we're about to go live, and we hear that countdown in our ears. But this particular week makes things really different. They feel more special sometimes because they are stacked from the very first fight all the way through, and because the fans love this week so much. You know, a lot of people make this a tradition that I think you almost feel their passion a little bit more in the building. And you guys know, Vegas crowds are typically late arriving, but I feel like on International Fight Week, there are more people here earlier in the night because they understand how many great talents there are from the beginning to the end of the night. So it just feels magical sometimes. Honestly, we look at each other every once in a while around the octagon and we'll be like, can you believe we're doing this? This is what we get paid to do this.
What's the most intriguing storyline on Saturday that maybe enough people aren't talking about?
Well, I think the Sean and Alex fight is really interesting, and obviously the press conference today helped. But I do wonder if people understand that we could very well see the next contender there, and there is a great storyline should it be Alex, and there's going to be a great lead up should there be Sean. And obviously he's on a great winning streak. Alex has proven, from kickboxing to MMA, he doesn't have a problem coming over to this side of the world, or the sport I should say. So I do think that one is a really interesting one to watch, and I love the pay-per-view opener. I mean, Pedro versus Sean, I just think is such a great one. It's the first time Sean O'Malley is fighting a ranked opponent, and I think people love him so much that, he's a guy that seems to always rise to the occasion. Can he do it against a ranked, tough veteran who has proven to be a tough out for anybody he faces? I think that one is a really great storyline as well.